afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
How are you guys today?
Good, thank you.
Good. Welcome to Mirrors Mondays. My name is Stephanie Lee. I am the Youth and Community Engagement Officer here at Mirrors. And this is Mirrors Mondays, the second Mirrors Mondays of 2026. So excited. I know, right? To my left and my right, I actually have, and joining us on Zoom, we actually have a few of our current life coaches who have graciously decided to join us here today and just share a little bit about their experiences as a life coach throughout their time here with Mirrors, and to give you an oversight and an insight of what it really means and what it really takes to be a life coach and a volunteer with the Mirrors program. So, good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you again for joining me. So if you don't mind, just introducing yourselves, and we'll jump right into it.
Yeah. My name is Naquan Smith, and yeah, I'm a life coach here with Mirrors, and I've been a life coach next for 2 years now.
Oh, great.
Okay, yes. My name is Mr. Bean. I'm Eric Bean. I'm also a life coach. I have been a life coach for the past 2 years. When I'm not in that space, I work at Cedar Ridge Academy as one of the educational therapists.
Great. And we also have Misha, who is joining us via Zoom. Can you say hello to us, Mish?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Misha Zul, and I currently live in the Cayman Islands, but I've been a life coach since 2019, so for about 6 or 7 years. And I life coach virtually as opposed to in person.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And thank you again for joining us as well, all the way from Cayman.
Yes.
No problem.
So you kind of already have alluded to it, but my first question is, how long have you volunteered with Mirrors? In any capacity?
Okay, even though I have been a life coach for the past 2 years, my relationship with Mirrors goes back many years, depending how far I would go back. I could go back as far as when the concept of Mirrors was first introduced to the island. And I believe at the time we had our first workshop. It was at Elbow Beach Hotel.
Wow.
And so that's been some time.
Yeah.
And so even though my relationship started with Mirrors at that time, I have not been as actively involved in Mirrors in terms of some of the things that they have been doing within our community. Just over the recent years, I have become more involved in Mirrors. And my last piece that I was involved in terms of volunteer, I did participate, I believe they call it a quantum camp or super camp. They had a
Super
little
camp,
band,
yes.
super camp.
Yes.
And I was a counselor at that time, and it was at that time that I was exposed also to the potential possibility of being a life coach.
Great, thank you. What about for you, Naquan?
And for me, not a long story at all. So my second year as a life coach,
Yes.
I was introduced last year by Janine just when we started the road. Actually, I think you guys did some promotion when we started the road. Now, I did have some experience or knowledge on Mirrors, but never had the opportunity to coach. So once it did present itself, I jumped to.
Oh, great, thank you. And what about you, Mish?
Other than being a life coach in person, I moved out here in 2021, so I've been virtually coaching since then, but I was also a team leader for Super Camp and did the FIT facilitator and training program as well.
Okay, so quite some time. So it seems like the volunteers, or Mirrors volunteers, are very loyal to the program. And you also talked about the capacities that you volunteered with us. But right now, all three of you are currently life coaches.
Yeah.
So in your own words, can you share with us what is a life coach? And I think, Mish, we can start with you.
Sure. So to me, a life coach is someone who guides, supports, and helps someone to navigate achieving their goals, providing them with the tools of empowerment and the success to tackle them.
Okay. And Naquan?
Yeah, I would second that. Someone who helps guide, helps to shape someone's own mind and own decisions to the direction that they want to go. I think the main thing that we learned as life coaches is, what we aren't telling our kids or young people what to do. We're allowing them to make the decisions themselves, but we're here as a support system for them. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay.
Yes, just to build on that, in terms of a life coach, to me is it's like a safety net. We're there to provide a level of support for that person as they navigate through their life journey and through the different stages of their development. We're there to support, not to create a mini me or not to live through them, not to tell them what to do, but to embrace their objective, their goals, and try to help them to achieve their goals while you're providing that safety net of support.
Now, I have another question. It might be a bit out of the blue. So, last week, Mirrors held our Junior Forum camp, where we took middle schoolers over to Grace Island. It was our first middle school residential camp, which was an experience for me, definitely.
Awesome.
So, for you, Misha, and Eric, you have both been team leaders at our super camps previously.
Yes.
You haven't had that experience yet? You're next. So, if you guys don't mind, can you guys share a little bit about the difference in that type of experience from a life coach versus a team leader?
Oh, that's excellent. I guess the difference between, a team leader and the life coach, the team leader, you're leading a group in terms of a number of young people. As compared to a life coach, you may be working with one individual. And so that makes a difference because you're dealing with one personality, one person. But as a team leader, in that capacity, you're going to manage and guide and support a number of different persons that bring a different, diverse personalities, attitudes. And so that's the difference. But also as a team leader, you work as a team. Even though as a life coach, you are part of a team overall, generally speaking. But when you're doing your life coach, you're working with that young person one-on-one.
Okay. Do you have anything to add, Misha?
I do. So similar to Mr. Bean's experience, definitely one-on-one is life coaching versus being a team leader. You are focused more on more than one individual. So I feel that life coaching is generally more of an intimate setting where it almost becomes a little more formalized, whereas team leader, you are taken out of your comfort zone, you are immersed in day-to-day life of a middle schooler or a teenager. So that was my experience, where it's not just you asking questions as a life coach. Being a team leader, you have to perform, you have to kind of show up differently than normal.
From my experience so far, I tend to agree. Certainly was, and it was an experience for sure. And we're still getting feedback from our campers and our parents that it was a fantastic experience. The kids had a lot of fun. Residential again was different, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about what it is to be a volunteer with Mirrors. So Naquan, you actually kind of touched on your experience on how you were informed about becoming a life coach or actually volunteering with Mirrors. Can you kind of expound on that a little more?
It's not a long story, if I'm being genuinely honest. I was walking along Church Street and Mirrors had a pop-up tent, informing people that I had a call from across the street. And one of the team leaders here, Janae, reached out to me and we just had a quick conversation. I did have some experience working with Janae, coaching in another sort of aspect in football. So she did know that I enjoyed that side of things and coaching young people, even people that were older than us at the time. So I did have that experience, and she sort of played on those heartstrings, knowing that I wouldn't say no. That was sort of where it came from and how it all started.
So what was the catalyst, the shift in your mindset that said, okay, yes, I'm going to do this now?
I think for me personally, I always enjoy coaching and working with young people in any sort of capacity. But this just gave me that opportunity. It was more settling back on island. I had returned, and now it was opportunities here. I didn't really know how to approach getting into Mirrors or any other program, so being that, you know, fate just came to me at that point.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah. I just ran with it.
The stars aligned, as they say.
Exactly.
What about you, Eric?
I guess in terms of, I guess, the relationship with Mirrors, because they also have established a good relationship with the schools, and me having the privilege of working in one of the schools, that relationship was there and was continuing to build. So as I was observing, I guess, how they were involved in reference to how Mirrors first started to where they are now, I believe that did get my attention in reference to the concepts like Supercamp or quantum learning, because as I saw them pivoting, current commissioner, Ms. Kama Richards, she was the former principal of Cedar Bridge Academy,
Yes, she was.
and she had given her staff and teachers the opportunity to go overseas to California to be trained in that concept at that time,
Right.
in Supercamp and quantum learning, because we did have a number of staff at that time that were part of that organization that introduced that concept.
Okay.
And so I was first exposed to that. And so when I saw that Mirrors was beginning to adopt that, I said I may be able to join and be more active, because I'm familiar with the concepts and the model that they're using. I might be of help. Yes.
That's incredible. And for you, Mish?
So the catalyst that shifted, I love to learn new things, and I'm always interested and passionate about personal development as well as youth development. So when I heard a little more information about it after hearing the live radio broadcast, and heard that I was, you know, going to have some training and that I'd be an integral part of doing the right thing for youth development and empowerment, then it was just a natural something for me.
Great.
I just said yes.
So, thank you all very, very much. So we talked about the catalyst and the importance. So, actually, Mish, I guess this question is more directed for you, since you have the experience both in person and now by virtual. And of course, we've all lived through COVID, yes. But from what it sounds like, neither of you were life coaches at the time, but you were, Mish. So can you kind of share a little bit about your experience and the differences between volunteering and supporting a young person in person versus now virtually?
Sure. So in person, there's, you know, the different energies, and you get to see all of the social cues, so body language and things of that nature. There's a different connectivity when you're in person, but virtually, I think it seems a little more formalized. So it's, hey, we're meeting at this time. This is what's going to happen. I'm asking you questions. So, you know, I don't know if you're fiddling with anything. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. So I have to use, you know, you have to use facial expressions and eye contact more often than full body language as a cue. But I think the experience has been interesting, because during COVID, it was just a bit of an insight as to what it could be, which is why I'm comfortable with continuing on in the virtual space. You know, there's WhatsApp, so it seems a little more like we're having a conversation as opposed to we're having a Zoom meeting. There's a little nuance difference in that for me, because I use Zoom for professional circumstances, whereas with my coachee, we use WhatsApp video. So it works for both of us, and it just seems a little more relaxed.
Thank you for that insight. That's very intriguing. So tell me then, why do you feel that this type of volunteering is important to our community?
Yeah.
We'll popcorn it.
Yeah, I don't mind jumping in. I mean, our community needs it. We need to, we all are aware of the state of our young people at the moment, and I just feel any support that our young people can get. And the one thing with this program that I really find helpful is not just support for the young person. It's support for the coaches. You know, we learn how to deal with different mindsets and mentalities, and the way the brain works down to the sciences of it. So it's helpful to us, it's helpful to their parents. And I just feel that, yeah, we need to support our young people at as much as possible. It takes a village, as they say.
As they say.
Yeah, that's as I reflect on that question, it does take me back to that African proverb, which reminds us that it takes a village to raise a child. Now, the principle behind that proverb, it speaks to a shared responsibility or a collective effort. And so for me, I believe it's good for the community because it ignites that fire and it reminds our community that we need to take on that collective effort in raising our children. That's going to be leaders for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that's what really, I believe, is very key to the community in reference to that. It encourages us to work together to benefit our children.
Benefit our children. Okay. Do you have anything to add, Misha?
Yeah, definitely the village and being a part of it. So I feel like there's seemingly a gap or like a void in the kind of perspectives that coaches bring. So this, people have family members, teachers, friends with different perspectives, relationship investments, and lenses. So with coaches having a skill set, I think it focuses primarily on the coachee's empowerment and unlocks a new perspective, preparing them for success in different ways. So with us, the coaches encourage decision-making on the coachee's end, and it balances consideration for any rewards or consequences as applicable in a non-judgmental or punitive way. And parents tend to say, if you don't do this, this is going to happen, whereas we take a step back and the emotion's not in it. So I think that fills a bit of a gap in the community that we may not have, but we definitely need.
Okay. Well, this is really great, guys. I'm really enjoying the conversation. So important to the community. So let's bring it back personally. Why is volunteering like this important to us as individuals? Important to you as an individual?
To me personally, I think volunteering and I think the coaching aspect of it, I can take it back to personal experiences. Growing up as a young man and not having the role model that in my immediate household initially, but having those coaches in my life, I know the amount of shaping that helped with discipline, with holding myself accountable. And this was just a football coach, but it was a genuine connection there.
Right.
So me personally, understanding how much of an impact one person or one statement can make to a young person, especially a young male, it means the world, and it can save lives eventually,
That's very true.
I guess, yes, for me, and I know this is not a spiritual or religious podcast, so forgive me for going into this space. For me, and based on my belief in God, and based on His example, because I have come, in my opinion, that Jesus is the #1 life coach. And so to follow His model, He came to serve, not to be served. And so as part of this, in terms of that, it encourages me to give back to the community. And by giving back, it gives me the opportunity to invest in people, and especially the next generation. And I know when people heard that term invest, the first thing they may go to is finance, financial management. I'm about to see a wealth manager. But when you invest in a person, it doesn't always have to concern or involve finance or money. And so sometimes just your time, it's just showing up, is an investment that person can benefit from. And so for me, that's the piece, not just my belief in reference to serving, you know what I mean, but just having the opportunity to invest in people. Yes.
Anything for you to add, Mishka?
Yeah, essentially somebody did it for me, so it's paying it forward a little bit to a certain degree, but it's also inherently necessary for the future generation to thrive. African proverbs or whatever, the elders teaching the younger generation, it's just something that I think helps the world to go around. And if any impact that we can do in a positive way, I'm all for it.
Each one teach one, right?
Yes.
May each one teach one and hopefully reach one more.
There you go. I like that.
Yes.
So you all have volunteered for a few years with the Mirrors program. what have you noticed in, I guess, in the differences of the type of person or the shifts over the years in the person that you have coached? So obviously different personalities, but I think I'm more asking around like maybe from year 1 versus year 2, certain aspects or things that the young person might be exposed to or challenged with from year 1 versus year 2 or year 7 even. So
Interesting.
yeah.
I would say in terms of my first experience as a life coach, the young person that I had the privilege of working with at the time, the challenge that he was having, it was the buy-in. And so what I discovered that not just the young person that you're coaching has to buy in, but you as the life coach also has to buy in. And once the young person sees that you're genuinely buying into it, you see a shift in their attitude towards you and even towards the support that's being made available to help that young person. You know, and then when I look at this current year, my young person work is the complete opposite. It's already bought into the concept, already bought into the support and sees the benefit what the support can have, just having someone that's separate, not as parents, not as uncle, aunt, but someone neutral in my corner that's just there for me in my corner.
Just because.
And just because. And so that's something that I have seen as a shift in reference to once the young person sees that they're genuine, regardless of them starting off maybe not wanting to be a part of it, but once they see a genuine, that shifts and they want to be a part of it. And I think the one that I had the privilege of starting off with, he's at a point, it was like he wants to become a life coach now too. That's powerful.
Yeah.
You know, from someone that didn't really want to be a part of it to someone that now he's trying to help someone else.
Yeah.
So to me, that's power. That's powerful. Yes.
Thank you for your time and your service, definitely.
Thank you. Anytime.
Yeah, for me, very similar situation. I think the first coaching that I had was in a state where they needed someone to be there even when they wasn't, to know that they had someone that's always going to show up.
Yes.
And seeing that growth in my young person, I think it was a buy-in change that I saw over time, where initially it was that skepticism of, I didn't really choose to be here. Do I really want to be here? But then at the end of it, seeing, okay, I want to be here and I see the benefit for myself, and knowing that someone's going to show up whether or not they come. So that was sort of my first experience. And then this year's, again, been the opposite. It's more, we're dealing with youth leaders.
Yeah.
These come and they know what they want, and sort of how to get there, but they just need a little bit of coax and a helping and shaping of their minds. But I'm still seeing a more of a growth in the sort of confidence, knowing sort of that direction and what needs to be done. So it's fulfilling in that aspect where, yes, they are leaders in their age group, but now they know sort of how to attain their skills or how to help their age group and their friends and people. So yes, it's good.
Right. And definitely, I know this may be not part of the question, but I think it may help with one of your questions in terms of when we reflect on us as life coaches. For me personally, having the opportunity of working with young people through Mirrors, and through volunteering as a life coach, it reminds me that not all young people are making at-risk choices. It reminds me that not all young people are creating havoc in our community. It's unfortunate where there's a sect in our society that may paint all young people with the same brush and say our young people have problems. The young people that I'm working with, they're not jumping out and out of windows. They're not stealing bikes. They're not, and when we have those honest narratives, those honest conversations, they're not vaping. I'm like, wow, you're not vaping? They know I'm not vaping. And so, but it's unfortunate that the society would think that all young people are doing that.
Yeah.
And for me, having the opportunity to work with young people outside of my school setting at Rocket City Bridge Academy.
Right.
They keep me in touch with what's happening in the community.
Yeah.
To work with someone that's not part of the Cedar Bridge Academy family or students, to see that there are young people in our community that are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That needs to be like highlighted and celebrated, because it's unfortunate, again, a certain sector would make us believe that all young people are making bad choices and doing the wrong thing, and they're not. So that for me was a reminder and an eye opener that hey, so that's encouraging me to hang in there as a life coach, because I feel that I'm encouraging someone else that may encourage someone else to do the right thing.
So changing the narrative and continuing that domino effect.
Yes. That's I said, wow.
And what about for you, Misha?
So throughout my time, I've seen definitely an increased confidence. We have emerging leaders this year, which are a different set of students that I've encountered. So my coachee my emerging leader is only 13, and it's just leaps and bounds from what I see as a young person. She's so self-aware, so it's definitely a different caliber of individual that we're working with. But I've seen an increased confidence. She's empowered to do different things, a sense of identity and belonging, and just overall purpose. It's not that the coachees or the students don't have this; they just need a little push, or the fact that we create a different avenue and different perspective. That it's all about empowerment. So you give them the tools and they just run with it. They're fearless at this point, it seems. So once that's structured in a way that speaks to them, I think that they just have the opportunity to thrive. So that's just what I've seen.
That's great. Well, I'm glad that you guys certainly have that experience to work with, different sector, wide variety of young people, so we'll see you in September. So I have a few other questions, and I am keeping an eye on the clock. But this is a really great conversation. I'm really enjoying this. So tell me then, as a life coach, and everyone sort of has an idea that a life coach in particular is one that is paired with a young person for the academic year. So it's about a 10-month commitment, thereabouts.
Yeah.
So, but we ask a minimum of half an hour, 30 minutes every week. So tell me then, how does this commitment fit into your life? Or do you make your life fit around this commitment?
I think like anything that's important to you, you make time for the things that you have that you want to commit to. If that makes sense. So this is something that I enjoy. Regardless if I'm busy, I make the time. The same, I would do the same for my family, for work, for whatever else. So it's something that I chose to do, and it's something that I enjoy. So I sort of make it fit, regardless, regardless of what I'm doing. Like you said, we can make life fit around coaching if I have to. So that's how I work. Balance, exactly.
Yeah, well, I guess with that, it comes down to time management. And with that time management is fueled by your commitment in terms of my yes was a yes. So when I said yes, whether I had to revolve around that or it involved me, I had to find making that yes a yes. And so in terms of that 30 minutes, whether it's once a week or more than once a week, I had to show up for that young person, because when I said yes, it was a genuine yes. I wasn't ticking a box. And so I had to sacrifice, and that's the theme for anyone listening that is looking to be a life coach. You have to be prepared to give up part of yourself in this journey with that young person. And part of that is sacrifice, and that might be a sacrifice of your time. And so if you're not able to give up that time, then you might have to see where else you can fit in mirrors. But a life coach, you're going to have to definitely time management is important.
Definitely.
Yes. So
Definitely.
that comes with the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Commitment.
And the commitment. Yes. That's the
Commitment.
Commitment. That's it.
And what about for
Yes.
you, Mish?
So intentionality and commitment, but also just adopting another one of the 8 keys of excellence. Flexibility.
Yes.
That's how it comes into my life, because as Niquan said, you make time for what's important for you. So it's only 30 minutes, and it doesn't have to be on the day that you set. There are always other opportunities to do what is necessary and to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So that's as simple as it is. It may seem like it is a big thing, but it really could just be that simple to adopt the different keys that you're utilizing and just to make it work. Because you're making a huge impact that you might not see right away, but planting the seeds makes a huge difference. And I've been in it for so long and will continue to do the work because I've actually seen transformations from what I think is such a little bit of time that I give. Half an hour each week is nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's very true. So,
One show on Netflix.
sorry?
There's one show on Netflix.
But basically,
You can binge watch a series in the evening.
Yes.
You know, so what
that's
is,
very
you know,
true. But what is half an hour?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
very true. So, tell me then, why should someone who is new, they may have heard about what it is to volunteer with Mirrors, what would you tell them to say, yes, you need to be a life coach, or yes, you should sign up? Popcorn.
If I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's mutually beneficial. You have the opportunity to make a real difference in the community and make a positive impact on someone's life. And in return, you gain skills, experience, and things of that, all positive things to become just a better human. You can become an active listener. You can honor the 8 keys and incorporate them into your life and just pretty much lead by example.
Okay.
I guess going back to what we opened up with, the African proverb, it takes a village. I believe that becoming a life coach allows you to be a participant in this village. Because many of us you could either be a participant or you could be a spectator. But you have to remember, it's the same village.
Yes.
And I know sometimes some people use the concept of tribe. The tribe still has to still live in that same village. The village represented that community, that neighborhood, you understand? And so whether you want to look at it as a village or you want to look at it as my tribe, your tribes has to coexist within that village. And so how do you want that village to look? And so becoming a life coach allows you to be a part of that conversation, allows you to be a part of that process, allows you to invest in the next generation. And so that's one thing. And I know it was William Shakespeare once said, it was one of his quotes, a famous quotes, if you don't want to be dead and rotten, when you don't want to be dead, you don't want to be forgotten when you're dead and rotten, you either write things worth reading or do things worth writing about. So the question that I ask those that are considering, what legacy do you want to leave? I'll leave on that note. What legacy do you want to leave?
That's a very valid question.
And for me, I'll just ask, what are you doing to help? Whether that's your own family, whether that's the youth coming up, but we all have a responsibility at the end of the day to, especially if we have the ability and the time, we have a responsibility to give back. There's always people doing it, but what are you doing? So I would just ask, those individuals that, but then also if you have something to give, why not pass it on?
That's true. So what type of person does it take to be a Mirrors volunteer, a life coach?
Definitely someone who's committed. I think that's the main thing everyone here shares is the commitment to young people, but also patience and, like you said, time management. Someone who can make sure that they're organized and ready to give back. Always, it's like you have to be fully committed and fully wanting to give back.
Okay, thank you.
I would say the person has to be open-minded, and as this I know this trending term, that growth mindset. Have to have that growth mindset, but also in all of that they have to be humble. humble enough to not come into the relationship with your young person as you know it all. I'm going to tell them what I think they should do. You need to have a teachable spirit, and that's what I would tell any life coach. Be humble and have a teachable spirit, but be open to growth yourself, because you would find yourself growing in this experience. Yes.
Do you have anything else to add?
Nothing else to add, because everything that was said was definitely spot on in terms of what I think it takes an individual. Mine was open-mindedness, because with that, literally, the world is your oyster. It creates a level of humility and just true authenticity, because no one's perfect. And once we get to the grassroots levels of humility, you see that, ironically, mirrors, of course. Then you're faced with asking questions and seeing someone else's development. It also makes you question yourself, which is there's the beauty in all of that when it comes to mirrors that I truly appreciate in this work.
Thank you, guys. I actually have a very special question for Naquan over here. Yeah. So you were recently awarded Male Mentor of the Year 2026 through our partner or our peer organization, Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yes.
Did you know? Like, how do you feel?
I had no clue. I'm gonna tell you, I found out that I was a nominee probably a day before or 2 days before. So yeah, I had absolutely no clue. And like I said, even when I received the award, thankfully, I'm humbled because we don't do this for acknowledgement. You know, we do this because we want to, because we want to give back, and I sort of dedicate it to everyone that takes the time to help them. Yeah, so I'm humbled. Honestly, it's not, like I said, nothing I was expecting, nothing that I would even anticipate getting in the future or anything like that. So yeah, we as coaches, we do this selflessly. It's not about us. So that recognition should go to Mirrors, should go to every other coach that's given their time. That's where I come from.
Well, definitely congratulations again.
Thank you.
You know, that is just a reflection of your impact with your young people, with your young person. And at least from my perspective, I have to thank all of you as our volunteers, because you guys are on the ground, you are interacting immediately with our young people. So, you know, you guys are putting in the work. You know, you are the ones who are making the change that you want, or being a part of the change that you want to see in our community. So I thank you all very much from the bottom of my heart. So thank you. And keep my eye on the time. Any final words to anyone out there in the listening audience or in our community who may not be listening just now, but you know, out there, to encourage them to register for Mirrors, to be a volunteer with Mirrors?
You said the word?
Sure, so thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, first of all, to the Mirrors team, because you created a structured program that makes it a little easier for life coaches to just show up and do what's necessary. I'm big on training and things of that nature, because people often come in and not know what to do. But with the training, I think that it takes out the burden of everything. We're just giving our time, but we're coming in authentically and just with a willingness to do something great. So the Mirrors program, having that avenue to do this in a way that is proven over the years, I think is just amazing. So anyone that's listening, it's not as daunting as you may think it seems, but if you come, again, open-minded and honest and authentic to yourself and willing to make a change, then it's going to happen regardless. You may not see it right away, but planting the seeds and doing just a small thing in the grand scheme of things can make such a huge difference in not only a young person's life, but in your own life as well, and the greater good.
Thank you.
Yeah, Nisha touched on it. I mean, yeah, thank you to Mirrors for giving us the platform. I think there's a lot of individuals on the other end. Like you said, it's not everyone don't have the same mindset. There's a lot of people that do want to help. So thank you for giving that opportunity to people. And as we said, this is something that it doesn't just benefit our youth. It benefits you as a person.
Yes.
Anyone that's thinking about becoming a coach, the growth that you see within yourself, that mirror aspect of it. Yes, you're helping a young person, but there's lessons you learn just as much as they do. You know,
Yes.
we're not perfect, so we're always growing, and like you said, that open-mindedness of wanting to learn and develop your own personality and situational awareness and spiritual awareness, and the Mirrors program is so much bigger than just sitting with a kid and learning about them and helping them. It's important, I think, overall. So yeah.
I guess I do concur with what my life coach colleagues have shared. Just one thing to add to it. When we look at a life coach and then you look at a mentor, one common thing between the two is that they're both role models. So if you would like to be a role model, then I invite you to be a part of the Mirrors and become a life coach. And I believe you would find that very rewarding. Yes. That's it. Well, to the Mirrors family, come join the Mirrors family. Yes. That's our tribe, the Mirrors tribe. Come join the Mirrors tribe. For those that like to use that term, come join the Mirrors tribe.
That being said, I have nothing else to add. Thank you all very, very much for taking a little more time out of your schedules to come and share your experiences with me, with our listening audience, our watching audience. If you are interested in learning more about being a life coach or the other volunteer opportunities that we have with Mirrors, you are welcome to give us a call. Our phone number is 294-9291, 294-9291, or you can email us at mirrors, MIRRORS, @gov.bm. You can visit our website at www.mirrors.bm, or come by to visit us here at 43 Church Street. We are at Global House. We are on the first floor. We are here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and I'd be happy to have a conversation, to learn a little bit more about you and give you some more information on how you think you could be a best fit for us with Mirrors. So thank you all very much once again, much appreciated, and stay tuned till next Mirrors Monday, which is the final Monday of March, which I believe is the 26th. Nope,
Yeah,
that's wrong.
26.
I think it's the 23rd because it is February, so matches up that way. So I think we are on March 23rd. We will be back here live on Facebook and YouTube for another Mirrors Mondays. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.